Alright guys, welcome back to Rouse House. Painting from the heart. Fight the battles and we get up with what we want it to be. I tell you what, we're still working on our daisies and just throwing some of the craziest colors in there you ever seen, but in the end we hope it all comes together and works out. I go and you see me do this, light to dark, light to dark, light to dark. Now I'm going to throw some more darks back in here and recapture some of these shadows and under here. So when I put the highlights on, they're really going to pop, they're going to jump out at us, and that's what we're trying to achieve. So I'm going to grab a little more ultramarine blue and a little more burnt umber, mix them two together. Just get my dark back. Get my dark back. Let's get that mixed in here. So this gives me a good dark there. And again, we'll get back into, remember the bottom under that jar, we got to keep that jar established. And here's our stems. And I want to just kind of get that shadow down under there. These stems are kind of out right here in our foreground, in our face. So we want them to kind of have a good shadow, a good dark shadow to separate them from everything else. Especially this one coming right in the back of that flower. The shadow side of these flowers, see. Kind of establish where that's going to be. Come out. Now I'm going to use the edge of this brush and catch these back here, kind of catch just the, try to set them where one flower petal might be on top of another. And these that are towards, that are turned into the shadows, so you want to create a cup type effect. Just pull it on down into here and kind of shadow that some more in here. So I want it like that. So it's shaped that way. So I'm just cutting in some shapes there. Keep that in back there a little bit. There it is. Now this is the back of that flower here. I'll catch that in the bottom of that stem. And on this side where it goes down into the jar. Catch that right in there. So there's our stem coming up out of the jar. And there's the shadow across the glass. The farther away it gets, the lighter it gets. We got another stem coming up back out of here, see. Just cast it across the jar. Another one back there. Leave that little light back there. It's got to get dark right here. So we're just, again, we're back to finding where our little darks, our little highlights of darks might be, our little, just trying to capture some places here. Our water coming around, we got to have that water in there. Mom always puts plenty of water in there for her flowers. She likes them flowers. This part that's down under the water, into more in the shadows. A little bit of that coming up. This flower here is facing us, the light's coming from there, so it's going to cut that light. Back side of that right there. A couple strokes out there. And that, again, that's going to give me something to throw all these lights into. So we're just kind of establishing the shapes of these flowers a little bit. I like that. I like the way that did that. Need a little bit more of that up in here. That side of the flower is going to be pretty dark. The back side of these petals. We're only seeing the back side of these petals on this one, so most of these petals here will be kind of in the shadow. And we'll catch that back in a minute. I know sometimes you just wonder, what's he doing? What's he doing? Sometimes I wonder, what am I doing? What am I doing? That gives me something to paint into. Flowers kind of stuck right there behind these. Get a good strong shape back here. Some paint. Now see how light that table is? If you have light, you gotta have dark before you can throw another light in there. You gotta have it dark up here to make the next light I put on stand out. I'm not painting for what I'm doing now, I'm painting for what I'm doing next. And that's probably the concept that I paint with, not what what I have now, I'm gonna keep doing this until I get to what I see that I like. And I move from light to dark, light to dark. It's got that shadow back in here. Where that flower is. Under this one over here, it's got a good shadow in there. Under there. Gotta have those shadows. Shadows what make things jump. Make things stand out. What gives you a lot of depth. There, we got our bottom of our jar coming around like that. And that side over there, and right under this water, it'd be a little shadow, be a little bit darker. But I have to put the water down in the jar, so get a little bit in there, pull it down, keep darkening it up. And we'll take care of that with a glaze. We'll make that look like it's what we want. So all we're doing is adding a few more shadows. See that stem laying on that table? Kind of go over it and the table both at the same time and get that shadow that's cast on the table, see? I'm just pulling it, kind of a dry brush till I get the amount that I want on there. Now when I put that highlight on that stem, that shadow's cast on that table. It'll pop out there. Again, that's what we're trying to achieve. Things that jump at it. Don't be afraid to put dark strokes in there. You're going to be surprised how quick your dark disappears when you start bringing white into the equation. It just makes it disappear. This is how you can get a good straight edge, just draw it. So just by moving it around, and roll that edge out there into the darkness. And clean that edge up a little bit. The dark. As this is what I love about painting. This is what painting's all about. We're not afraid to try different things. And fall down, you go in that flower, the darker it gets down towards that petal. You're just trying to build some depth in there. That's that greenery on the back of that. And I'm like everybody else, I look at it and think, oh, is that too dark or is that too light? You know, that's why I have to keep going back so many times because it's, like everybody else, I'm afraid to put it on there. But if you put it on there in the end, it'll work. So I'm just looking at my shapes, trying to establish those shapes. Inside the jars in the shadow a little bit. Let's cast some more shadow up in here. Get some shadow back here as it disappears behind. See? Are we getting a little shadow going there and a darker edge and the dark there? We'll go with dark down here. Just exact opposite, the reflection of it. Now, as I can sit here and do this and play, we've added our dark. Well, now we'll go back and we'll add some more lights. Y'all come and see what happens.